Tell us a little bit about those first couple flips, if you can go back in time 200 properties ago.
Yes. So I think my very first flip was I was on Taft in Spring Lake. It was this little house. I bought it for 55 grand. I think she had it listed at 100 or 90. So I was actually her agent, and she just was like, it was challenging to see. They were in a tough situation. They were ready to move it to a different property, and for them, they cared a lot more about speed than they scared more about speed and simplicity than they did top dollar. And so seeing their frustration with dealing with showings, I think they had like 3 kids in this little tiny 2-bedroom home and several dogs. So after it didn't sell right away, and like this is when there was 3 months of inventory, right? It was a normal market where people are still like thinking it's crazy hot at that time. So I think they were on the market for a month or two, and they're like, I can't do these showings anymore. So they needed a new septic tank, a new septic system. They needed a well. The whole house had to be renovated. But I started doing the numbers. I'm like, I bought a rental property last year, and I like painting. And so I'll buy it and I'll paint it. So I bought it. I ended up hiring somebody to do the work. But I did it just like help her out, really. And my goal was to make $20,000 on it. I thought that was really reasonable. My goal now is 30. At the time, I probably wouldn't have bought that house today, but I bought it, thought I could sell it for 120, couldn't get an offer, but I got a land contract offer at 120,000 with like 20 grand down. And so I took it, and she paid me right on time the first month and right on time the second month, and then didn't pay me for a year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I was an amateur, so I didn't know how to evict her. Right. So here I am in real estate for 3 years, had no experience. And I'm like, now I got to problem solve this. So I hired an attorney. We unfortunately had to foreclose on the seller, and she pulled out everything: wires out of the walls, cabinets, furnace interiors, pulled the wires. I mean, it was like filled the toilet with concrete and then pooped on it. It was nasty. It was above the rim, as I recall. But yeah, I mean, that was like, then I got it back and I flipped it again. So my first house I flipped twice, which is pretty funny. I mean, it ended up financially profitable, but it took 24 months or maybe 18 months to make money. And like, I did everything wrong. And in the end, I still made probably $15,000 or $20,000.
Amazing.
Most of the other deals were like that the first year too. It was just like, oh yeah, hey, this could actually work. And so I just brought it up. I said, hey, would you prefer a cash offer? And so I used my first year, I sold 40 houses. We were lucky enough to live in about $100,000 home. So I think our mortgage was $98,000. So instead of investing, I just paid my house off my first year. And then we used the HELOC to flip houses.
Smart.
But in hindsight, I wish it didn't pay my house off. And I wish I called anybody and said, do you have money? I'd like to borrow it. But oh well, hindsight's 2020.
Exactly.